and welcome back to Generic Sports Podcast. I'm your host, the Goose, Josh.
And I'm John.
Today we're going to talk about week 6 in the NFL season. It's going by fast. Like I'm losing track of it already. So
it's going by too quickly.
It always goes by too quickly.
Week 6 already? No, football season.
I know we're gonna be here, but Halloween's gonna be here, then Thanksgiving, and then the holidays, and then we're gonna be at Super Bowl, and we're gonna be done with it. Always too quick.
Mm-hmm.
Alas. We're gonna start off with the most surprising and or disappointing for the week 6, and gonna go do something different here. We're gonna talk about the Browns and the 49ers because, well, there was just a lot to this game. First, it was a great defensive matchup. Second, it was surprising to see how about the Jake Moody missing the kicks that he did.
Right.
I mean that's the thing. It's like we talk about this. It's team sport. First of all, we had injuries. Second of all, special teams did not help. The offense. So the Brock Purdy. I'm not gonna say Brock Purdy looked bad. He looked human. He looked like it was just a defensive game. And you know what? It was good to see that there was always going to be that first loss at some point. And you know what? You looked at that defense of the Cleveland Browns and you said there was a chance going into it. And I'm glad it happened how it did, because now we got it out of the way. Brock Purdy still looks good. He lost to PJ Walker, but guess what? PJ Walker did not play great. I mean, Brock Purdy was the better quarterback that day. Like, I think PJ Walker had like 2 interceptions.
Right. But he didn't he didn't lose to like PJ Walker. He lost to this Browns defense with Jim Schwartz, who makes really good defenses.
I saw a stat that it was that Jim Schwartz is basically 8-1 versus Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has won 1 game. He is 1-8 against Jim Schwartz as the head coach or coordinator. Like either or for same thing. I'm guessing also as Jim Schwartz was the head coach for Detroit. He just doesn't have a good record. So Jim Schwartz is Kyle Shanahan's kryptonite.
Pretty much.
So honestly, if I knew that going in, and I'm guessing it's still the Kyle Shanahan's 1-8 now, so meaning he was still 1-7, I definitely would have looked at that game differently. So I think that it's a team loss. Moody, Purdy wasn't, Purdy injuries and coaching. That was a team loss. But you know what? Brock Purdy, maybe he didn't look great, but he was putting a drive together. And you know what? Like game-winning drives, the quarterback gets credit. But I don't want to say it's an excuse that the kicker. It's really the kicker that gets it. I don't know if game-winning drives should be counted unless it's for a touchdown. Because
how many game-winning drives have kickers won? Super Bowls won because playoff games won because of field goal kickers.
I know people try and compare we're not the biggest Tom Brady fan, and I think that's where you were getting at, right? Some of those thoughts about the field goal kicking and stuff.
Well, it was last Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like Patrick Mahomes didn't win the Super Bowl. He got down to the field for Butker to kick the field goal,
right? Kickers getting
if he misses that field goal, all the problems go to him.
Yeah, but he doesn't get enough credit if he makes that field goal.
Kickers is the thankless job of the NFL. They're the most important and get the least amount of credit.
Wasn't Rich Eisen the one that's like kickers or
people too?
Yeah,
I forget who started. I think
they're players. Punchers are too. You got to make the plays. You are part of that team. So we always wow, look at the puncher make that touchdown saving tackle. You got to do you got to do your job, and you got to tackling. You play special teams. You got to do all aspects of the job too. Sometimes
It makes me think of something that happened in the Dolphins game this week, but I'll get to that when we get there.
Right. But let's. What are you gonna say?
But yeah, it's just all these pieces are important and they all deserve. If you mess up because they lose games because of special teams touchdowns too. You mess up in one small part of the game, you can lose.
Right. Now I wasn't really. I was on a phone call, so I was watching the best I could with that game. But I was gonna say Jerome Ford, I think looked good. The offense looked like nobody looked great, but the offense did enough. But it was really just about about the defense. I know Myles Garrett was like, it was defense. Like
it was actually both Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt both did good actually, and in fantasy points, Kareem Hunt got more.
But they both play, but like the run game worked, and nobody, like I would say that this was just a real defensive battle because outside of the running backs and maybe honestly outside of the running backs on both teams, wouldn't you say it was it was just it was a defensive game. So I want to just give a lot of credit to the Browns defense because just as the 49ers defense, it was a great game.
You don't need a great quarterback to win football games. You just need a good quarterback or a mediocre quarterback to win football games and have a great team.
Well, I think that's a lot of. First, I'll just say I think I want to say great team defense, great defensive game. What I was saying, but to your point, I just wanted to say I think there are a lot of good quarterbacks that with elevated talent that they just all gel together. I want to say I can think of a few quarterbacks that just did really well with a lot of great talent, and then there's some quarterbacks that just make everybody look good. And I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. That's I think he has some signs of greatness, and I think we're gonna. He's still only 10, 11 games in, so I would much rather we'll get on to Justin Herbert, but if you were to ask me who I'd want right now in their career, I would take Purdy over Justin Herbert.
Well,
just right now, I should say.
Yeah, Purdy is playing a bit better than Justin Herbert, but I don't know if that's all. What it comes down to is that a great O-line can make any quarterback better as long as they, are making the good decisions, or they're not turning the ball over. But a lot of people have said, how do you stop a healthy 49ers team? Well, if they become unhealthy, they're easier to beat. And when you got Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and Trent Williams getting hurt, some of their biggest pieces, they're not as strong when you have three of their best weapons out.
Right, and that's the thing. Purdy is so good that he makes I think that's the thing. He makes everybody look good. Like Brandon Ayuk would have games. George Kittle had games last week. Christian McCaffrey had games the other week. I think this week should have been a Deebo Samuel game, but if he got hurt, it's just there's just that. And I want to say maybe luck, energy. There's that feeling where somebody's gonna it's gonna be somebody else's game that week, and that's what Brock Purdy does, I think. So anything else we want to add on to? I know we should have a discussion about quarterbacks and what we think of a good one versus a great one, because I definitely think we have some hot takes.
Right. No, I think just the Browns just got it done, and field goal kicking matters.
It does. You know what? That's a great segue. You know what's an important thing is field goal kicking. You know who could have won a game if they had kicked field goals, if they had done it right? And I don't know what the play calling. I don't know why it was called even as an option. It shouldn't just have been why are we even calling it an option? Just make it a run. I mean, not a run. Make it a pass. It should just be a passing play. And this is the Bills-Giants game. Why are we running the ball with 8 seconds left?
Yeah, everyone was saying it as the commentators were like, you could have got 3 passes off during 8 seconds.
3 seconds, and then
just kick the field goal. You win that game. You win those games. You win that game, and they couldn't complete the trifecta of the weird ones of the underdogs winning.
Yeah, it sucks that they I know as a Dolphins fan you really wanted the Giants. It does suck that they couldn't, get the trifecta, because that was a better game than everyone was expecting. And I'm sorry, but the Giants should have won that game. They played better than the Bills. And the Bills they're missing stuff on defense. We already talked about that last week, but it shows. I told you. I know you didn't like when I talked about Matt Milano, but that really is how great he is. He is so.
I didn't care for Matt Milano because of some of the hits he's made in the past, but is he good? do they win games because of because of how he plays? Yes. And were they missing him? Yes. I can respect his ability, but not care for him.
That's fine. That's fair. And as far as the game goes, like the offense just looks so. The Bills' offense just looks so meh.
Well, they still can't. They still have troubles running the ball.
Right? I'm like, I've got James Cook, and I'm just like, I don't know if our friends listen to our podcast, but if anybody wants him, I'm thinking about trading him. But at the same time, I'm like, I'll still have running back trouble. So, until Aaron Jones gets healthy, or, Jameson, or Jamal Williams get off IR.
My backup is my backup Dolphins running backs keep getting hurt. That's still something I'll talk about when I get to the Dolphins game. But still, back on the Giants game and the Bills game, really, it's a shock how the score was, because I thought it was going to be like 48-10 at the half.
Pretty much. The Giants defense, we've seen how bad the Giants defense looks.
And the Giants defense, held them to 14, right? It was 14-9, and then they held them to 14, and Dolphins scored 31 on them, so they didn't look that good. But the Giants, I think, do play better with Tyrod Taylor than Daniel Jones, but it might have just been that since they just picked him up straight off the couch, that Justin Pugh came in and played left tackle. And, like I said, a better O-line can make your team look better.
Well, Justin Pugh played, was a difference maker, but they had Saquon Barkley.
And Saquon was back. So they had better weapons than when they played the Dolphins. So, but that really doesn't explain, it's like their offense played better, but doesn't explain, and their defense just played better.
It was just those few miscues, because if they got the kick at the end, even if they didn't get the touchdown, if they got points at the end, they're up, they would have 12. It would be 12-14. Then they just need a kick. Now, no guarantee that they don't, they get that kick, just like, Jake Moody. But guess what? They at least have a better chance. There was also another pass interference call at the end there that they didn't call, but...
Yes, we can rant on, we can go into a whole rant about the refs and bad playing calling, but we've done that, I think, the last 2 weeks, and
I'm just glad it's not on the Chiefs this time. Because we'll talk about that game later, but honestly, that was one of the best calls. That was one of the best refereeing jobs I've seen all season, as far as that game goes.
Yeah, minus that one obvious call that they should have called. He was clearly holding the other player at the end there.
In which game?
In the Bills Giants.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, no, I meant the Chiefs Broncos was one of the best.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, we didn't mention the context there. But.
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about the Chiefs not getting the calls. And, yeah, it was actually that was the game I was talking about. The Broncos Chiefs was a fairly called ref game, and so it was nice. But it shouldn't. I mean, again, I know it shouldn't come down to the last moments of a game, but and their mistakes were their mistakes. But those points, those really matter, because just like we talked about week 1, I mean, look at how important those 3 points at the end of the half for the Dolphins were. They won by 2.
If you had more point and 1-score games,
yeah, 1-score games. We'll talk about the Chargers later. Anything else from this game?
No, I think we're good. I think the Giants are going to might win win another game going forward here.
Do they play the Bears or the Broncos?
I don't know. They play the Commanders next, so
we'll see.
That could go either way.
It's a rivalry game, so those. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Let's say in the New York area.
Oh, to be fair, they do play the Patriots.
Oh, okay. But we'll see, because Bill Belichick has the Jets number, so we'll see. But we'll stay in the New York area and talk about the Jets and the Eagles. And oh, okay. No, I thought you meant the Jets and the Patriots were playing against. Yeah. I don't know. That one's gonna be a weird one. But with the Jets and I'm already on the Jets mood, so it's weird, because I wanted the Jets to win, and we both kind of wanted the Jets to win, just because we were like, well, we don't need to hear about the Eagles being the only undefeated team left in the league. So thank you, Jets, for getting rid of thank the Jets for a moment here, so we don't have to hear about that conversation. The Dolphins can pop the champagne. The 73 Dolphins can pop the champagne number 2.
I mean, I want the Dolphins to and the Eagles play them this week, but you know what? It's better. It's better that we don't have to go a week hearing about the perfect Eagles.
Right? It really is.
But Robert Saleh is a fun coach, and I might not care for the Jets, but I'm happy eating more successful.
I think he's a good coach. I definitely don't know if how long he'll be with the Jets, but I do think he'll get another shot. But that's a long ways away. I think I don't even think he could not win another game, and I don't think he's getting fired this year because of Aaron Rodgers. That being said, the Jets are competitive. Zach Wilson's looking pretty decent in these games. He's starting to, maybe it's finally coming together. Maybe it's a little bit maybe it's a whole nother conversation I was gonna have with the Lions, and we'll get into it too. But maybe we rush and hyper fixate on they gotta be good so early. There's 32 teams. Quarterback plays one. There's so many. It's it might take a while to get used to from the college to the pros, but there's also only so many quarterbacks. There's 32 starting quarterbacks. I mean, some of them, not everybody can be ranked in the top 15 or top half. That's gonna say it. I'll get more into it because it also involves Baker and Jared Goff. But Zach Wilson has looked good, or better, I should say, these last 3 games.
My question is with winning the Eagles and doing this, what happens if Zach Wilson actually wins these games?
Oh, I have no idea. If Zach Wilson can get to the playoffs, and if he makes it to the Super Bowl, and then Aaron Rodgers, I'm good. No way you can start Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl coming up. You gotta start Zach Wilson. He'd be so hot by then, right?
If Zach Wilson gets hot, you start Aaron Rodgers. You play Aaron Rodgers. If Zach Wilson, has a winning record this season, gets you to a playoff, but they don't win. Do you play Aaron Rodgers?
Next season, the only way you do not play Aaron Rodgers, I think, is if they make a championship game. They definitely do not play Aaron Rodgers as a whole nother podcast. But if Zach Wilson and the Jets win the Super Bowl this year, no, it's Zach Wilson's team. Zach Wilson's team.
I don't know. I think Zach Wilson continues to play well and get better. I think we might have Aaron Rodgers on another.
I do too.
Because I don't think there's any reason to keep Aaron if Zach does
well. That's what I said. It's Zach Wilson's team at that point. If he makes it to, even if he loses the Super Bowl, he makes the Super Bowl, it's Zach Wilson's team. He makes championship game, I still think it's Zach Wilson's team.
They win a playoff game.
Well, especially if he's just developed, that's the thing. If he finally got it. That being said, man, that Jets defense, they picked off 3 times.
I think 3 times
and a fumble. Or
yeah.
I know there were 3 interceptions. Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions, and they did not have Sauce Gardner. That defense looks great without. I'm sorry, I think Sauce Gardner is a little overhyped. He's good, but
so well without him. So we can say he's just was he that great, or is just Robert Saleh's defense that great? No matter when you throw into it.
I mean, when you look at games like this and you say the Jets, here's the thing. First time the Jets ever beat the Philadelphia Eagles. They did it without Sauce Gardner. I'm just thinking if you look at the stats, PS2 is the best cornerback in the game right now. Because the numbers he has against some of the wide receivers in this league. Look at him, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams. I wish I could say Patrick Mahomes, but Justin Simmons is Patrick Mahomes' tonight. but I have to say, I just love to see the other numbers, where PS2 is covering some of these other people, but but not to take away from the Jets defense, and the run game. The run game looked great. The Williams brothers, right? Quinton and Quincy? Quinnen, yeah, and Quincy, right? Yeah. They another great game. But I heard I guess their grandma was watching them play in New York or something. I don't know, but I mean, obviously always show up show up and show out for grandma. But the Eagles, there was some bad play calling. I do not know why we were throwing the ball. That third pick that Jalen Hurts, they definitely helped. They could have ran the ball and killed the clock more, but no, they gave Zach Wilson more time to get the score, and they won. So it was bad. It was bad. I mean, AJ Brown still played fantastic. They signed Julio Jones, the Eagles. It's just kind of that was definitely one of those ones where the Eagles, that was probably their last, I don't want to say easy game, but their last, they play good team. They play a lot better teams coming up with offenses and defenses. And I guess now, let's see if they can overcome this. The Dolphins defense is not there next to it. We'll we'll see how they show up. It's not.
I mean, the Dolphin defense, you would have rather played earlier in the season because
Yes.
now we're number 3. The Dolphins are number 3 in that.
Right? Well, and that's important. I mean, especially if it depends. But let's see that Eagles O line is their big thing besides AJ Brown, I think. But we'll see how that's good. I'm definitely glad it's Sunday night. That's going to be a hell of a game, and we're going to see the offenses are going to be the key on both of them. The offenses should be the key. The defense, will they be able to make a stop? That's that like either side. Like that. Like I know they haven't been the greatest defense this year, the Eagles. Not like they were last year. So we're gonna see how they do.
Yeah, I think losing their coordinator definitely hurt them, even though they're 5-1. But in little ways, you can tell that it kind of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the easiest game in the next few weeks they have is like Commanders, and then the rivalry game, and they only just barely beat them in overtime.
No easy game there. So.
Right, easiest games are at the end of the season for them. They're like last 3 games, Giants, White, Arizona. They're not exactly easy, but because like the rest of the schedule are like big teams in the NFL right now. Like you have Miami, you have Dallas, you have Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco. You play all the really tough, almost all the really tough teams. The Lions aren't.
Right. I was gonna say the Giants are the only ones that are maybe, and their rival, their division rival. So that's kind of like that can go either way. Like the Cardinals finally had their worst game of the season. They had the sinker finally. So
right, like Cardinals like have been crappy a few times, but like yeah, not getting into we're jumping ahead.
Right. Anything like the Eagles just had a bad. It wasn't their game. It was a bad. They didn't look. They just had a bad game.
Turned all over too many times.
Not everybody is Trevor Lawrence and has a magical turnaround in the second half of a playoff game.
Or yeah, like you need to have like exactly. You just have to have the ability to bounce back, or the other team fall asleep that you're not going.
Well, and with how defenses play in the NFC right now, Eagles aren't going to make it that far if they make playoffs. Not with the defenses that we've seen.
Right, they're going to get like they come up against the Lions. What are they going to do?
Lions, Bucks, 49ers, possibly Dallas if Dallas can keep playing and get back to their really good. Michael Parsons and everybody makes plays like that. Defense is and the Saints have a chance too. So like they're if they can't play a good defense, if the Eagles can't play against a good defense, they're gonna have struggles.
I mean, the Eagles did Tampa Bay, but
true, but it was a closer game than
it was a lot closer.
With that all being said, we're gonna move on to our fourth game in our most surprising and or disappointing, and that would be the Lions and Buccaneers. And really, I guess there was I was kind of surprised how good the teams did play, at least the offense versus the defense on the Lions, because like even though the Lions scored 20, like that's a good Bucs defense. Like that's not that like they really held them for what that team could do. Because
I mean they scored 42 against the Panthers. So
I mean, so did the Dolphins. So
I mean, but that's just saying like I mean a good defense versus a bad defense. Like
yeah,
well, like some teams can hold like 20 is low scoring. Like this is a stronger defense like against the Lions and with all their talent they have.
Right. I guess this is why I put it in the surprising list, is because I was just surprised how well that defense is coming for the Lions. Like to hold them to 6 points. I mean, Baker Mayfield's been doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I like his play. Like these are like I know I mentioned it before, but like these are two teams that are another chance for these quarterbacks, and I think these quarterbacks are showing that there's more to them than what other teams thought.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jared Goff helped the Rams get to a Super Bowl, so yeah.
Right, Jared Goff is like one of the quarterbacks that played the best this week with like having over 300 yards.
Right, I mean, I don't feel yards are everything. It's about scores, but yes,
you're absolutely right, because the Saints also had Derek Carr also had 300 yards, and I don't think they won.
Well, I mean, the Vikings are 2-4, and they've had yards, they've had touchdowns, they've had all of this offensive accomplishment, except they've also had the most turnovers, so that's why they're losing.
Well, that's why I said about in the same vein, like, yeah, great stats don't equal wins.
Exactly. That's also why I don't think QB wins are quarterback.
Wins
are
aren't a
the QB stat. Yeah, they shouldn't be, because
they're more likely a kicker receiver stat than they are a quarterback stat. If we really want to get technical about it,
we'll have to do a podcast on this whole subject because there's a lot like to talk about, like Gardner Minshew and Kirk Cousins and all that other stuff. But the defense, man, the defense was great for the Lions. I mean, I gotta say the Bucs defense was great too. But man, that catch from Jamison Williams for the Lions, whew, boy, that was, this is only his second game back. Like he was originally supposed to miss this game, so
yeah, they're Jamison Williams, but Amon-Ra St. Brown and how well they did. They're going to be like the next like Dolphins, like Eagles, like one like double number one receivers.
Right. I'll put it towards you this way. I think if we were to realistically give like best receiving duos,
more Cincinnati with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
No. I was gonna say that's one of them. That's probably like that's like my third. Like I do think Williams and St. Brown can be one of above them, but it's like Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are like number one and two, like number one. I actually don't put the Eagles there. I know this is a whole nother subject, but I think Puka and Cooper Kupp can be.
Puka and Cooper can be at the same level as like I think these guys, just with how well they are. But like last year, the Eagles, I would say, were up there when they traded for AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, and this year it's like it's not exactly the same energy,
right? But just right now, the Lions have that potential.
Lions have that energy, and like the Lions were like my pick, like one of my picks for the NFC, and they are definitely looking like it.
They're gonna be dangerous. The big thing is, I saw their schedule. They've got one winning team left in the hell. I think it's the Cowboys after the Ravens. They've got the Ravens this week. Like they just need to keep playing hard and not getting comfortable because they don't play the 49ers or the Eagles, right? Yeah, because they play the number 2 schedule, which is the Cowboys, and that's why they played the Seahawks, because they were number 2 in the division.
Well, like we say, you can only play who you play, but as long as you keep gaining confidence and you're playing really well, you can beat anyone, and they beat the Chiefs, so
that's true. But yeah, I'm really liking the Lions right now. I want to see how they keep doing and see if they, I don't need them to destroy teams. I just need them to play good football.
I mean, they just need to play like they did against the Bucs here. Like 20-6 is all they need. Like they just stop the opponents from scoring and just score more than them.
Right. I still think the Bucs are a playoff caliber team, especially with that division.
That division is the most up in the air division.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
I mean, I think it's that in the AFC North.
I was gonna say also the AFC South has been a little up and down too, but you're right on the North. But that being said, the last team we were going to talk about, if we didn't have anything else to talk about with those two teams,
just David Montgomery got hurt, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs is good, so I think he'll have a shot at taking over running back. Hopefully being a strong running back for them.
Because I know it was like a hamstring for Gibbs, so
yeah, it looks like he looks like he's going to be coming back. Like I know, but yeah, Montgomery, I think it was ribs or something.
Okay,
so he's going to be out for a bit.
We'll see what happens. So, but that's good. Gibbs is coming back. I want to see what he can do as the number 1. That being said, Cowboys. Chargers. That was I liked how Dak played. I thought he was smart with the football, especially calling. It felt like he called an audible in mid play to get that touchdown on the 4th down, because I think he thought Tony Pollard was gonna get stopped, and he would have.
Yeah, Tony would have gotten crashed into by that defender. That was a brilliant move on Dak.
Yes, and he got the ball out to everyone. It was to CD. He was trying to get it to Gallup. He definitely got it to Brandon Cooks, and it was just well done. The defense came alive at the end when they needed it, and it was just a good performance all around by the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think, like Stephon Gilmore's interception at the end, he like basically got the best of Quentin Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just got the better of him and got that interception that they need. And thank goodness they got Stephon Gilmore to help make up for losing Trayvon Diggs.
Who did they pick up?
With getting Gilmore.
Yeah. Man, there's so many thoughts I have on the Chargers. I mean, we talked about Brandon Staley losing his job. They have only one less game than the Broncos, about single-digit losses this season, or the last 2 seasons, with 6. The Broncos have 7. We'll see when the Broncos and the Chargers play if that changes anything.
It's gonna tie.
Watch, yeah, they will tie. But Justin Herbert, like, I know his finger's broken on his non-throwing hand, but he didn't look. I don't know. I feel like he's missing a spark or something right now. He's missed some passes. Keenan Allen's been open and he's looked great. Like, I know I doubted Keenan Allen, and I feel like Keenan Allen would be like would be this great on any other team, and he's just being wasted here. But that's the Chargers. They waste talent. I remember the 2006 Chargers, and around the mid 2000s, just wasted. LT, all that defense. So many. That was a Super Bowl caliber team.
Well, yeah, when they were number 1 team in the AFC, and then they just wouldn't be Patriots,
right?
I would have rather seen the Chargers in that Super Bowl than the Patriots,
right? I swear, were they? I thought they were like the number 1 offense and defense or something. I think they were at least number 1 offense with.
Yeah, I think
LT.
they had Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah,
that was a really good team that deserved better. But getting back to now, they're a really good team that deserves better. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. So Justin Herbert, I feel like he's just like missing Mike Williams. But I mean, I know Joshua Palmer is doing well, and they might I don't think they got the run game going. So I think they were just some other struggles. And honestly, I don't know what teams' O-lines are hurt or not, because I know that always makes a difference. But
well, that's the thing. I think it shows how good Tony Pollard really is. Because I don't know if Kellen Moore really knows how to call the run game as well. I don't know if they're just not getting the run game going. I know Austin Eckler has been out, and he came back. This was his first game back, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's some rust. And he'll do better next week, but it's just like, I haven't really been impressed with the Chargers run game. I think that hurts them, and you can kind of see some of the whole Kellen Moore stuff.
If you can't,
from the last couple of seasons.
I thought he wanted to run the ball more, though.
I did too, but I'm not. But they're not running it well.
I mean, I guess just because you want to do something doesn't mean you can do something, because it was like 14 carries for 27 yards for Austin Eckler.
How many yards?
27.
On 14 carries? That's less than, right?
That is, yep.
Less than 2 yards a carry.
That is 1.93.
Whew.
That is, Justin Herbert had 20 yards rushing on 6 carries. So Justin Herbert's average was better than Austin Eckler.
I mean, I know Austin can catch it out of the backfield, but that's still no excuse for 1.93 yards a carry.
Not when other teams are having better success at rushing the football.
Right. That being said,
Austin Eckler still might want to get out of there.
Right. I'm just the defense just surprises me. I mean, they do have some plays. They do make they have playmakers. They make some plays. Yeah, they only held the Cowboys to 20.
Yeah.
20? Yeah. But it's like, I'm just not hearing this defense be. I also don't think this defense is what it could be. It's like the mid 2000 Chargers that we talked about. They could be better. They should be better. This team is way too talented. This team was way too talented to be where they're at, like 2-4. And I mean, I know they traded J.C. Jackson to the Patriots so he could play better. Like sometimes you're just a scheme guy. Sometimes you do better under one head coach and stuff like that. But what like, where are you gonna? What else do you need, Chargers?
A better head coach than Brandon Staley,
right?
I think he's a better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach, and I think Kellen Moore might have been the problem in the Cowboys and might be the problem here with them being 2-4.
Oh, I'm almost certain that Eric Bieniemy is gonna go there, especially since Sean Payton became the Broncos head coach. I don't, unless Sean is adamant that he wants to get out of the Broncos and they trade him for they'd have to give him the number 1 pick. You never know in this league. So
Saints trade the number 1 pick to get him back if their season collapses. The Saints.
No, I can't see that.
No, it would be crazy, but I don't see it.
The Chargers, to John Payton to the Chargers, I can see.
That would be crazy,
but they would have to trade the number 1 pick. Yeah, that's what
I don't feel Sean Payton is going to take a failure like that. Like I don't think he's going to take this sitting down.
No, I don't think so either. Like I think if it was like a mediocre season, sure, but we'll get more into it. But
yeah, we'll get more.
I can see the Chargers. It's like that's the thing. Like I'm sorry, but I think I just don't see. I can see them making a change. I don't know when, because they just had their bye week, so I guess they're gonna hold out till the end of the season or close to the end.
It depends on how many wins they have.
Yeah, but like we've said, Brandon Staley, it's like I probably should have fired him last season, and maybe I think Sean Payton would have gone there. I really do. I do think if I'm looking at head coaches, I'm getting Eric Bieniemy because like I want the best offensive mind that I can possibly get to get Justin Herbert to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, it's him or Ben Johnson going from the Lions.
That's true.
I mean, granted, I don't know exactly who would be the better head coach, but those are like some of the top.
But I'm looking at both of them. I'm looking at anybody who can get me, to elevate and get Justin Herbert to another level. Because again, I don't think QB wins are, I don't think wins are a QB stat. But I do think they help define how great you are.
Wins definitely help, but I just wanted to get back to like how you said about Brandon Staley. Like I don't know how he didn't get fired after losing a playoff game not the playoff game, but before that, what was it? Losing a game that did it not matter or did matter to them?
It didn't matter. They were locked in at the 5.
So yeah, so they didn't rest their starters and lose to the Broncos, even with their starters. And then the playoff game. I don't know how the playoff game wasn't enough.
Right, like I totally understand if the Broncos played their starters and Chargers lose without playing Justin Herbert and any of the starters. But they did not. And they lost. It's a bad look. And then they gave up the lead. They gave up the game. They didn't lead that entire game, the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think that they wanted Sean Payton I think they were a little antsy on it. I mean, not that Sean Payton's looking great right now, but they're going to be in the market for an offensive-minded head coach next season.
Right? I don't know. At this rate, I don't think they should have got rid of their old offensive coordinator. If they go from being a playoff team to a team that's struggling.
Well, that's also part of what's going to cost them the job, because I think it was Joe Lombardi, right? Yeah. He was just the fall guy. He was the fall guy. It was just like I think it was on Brandon Staley, and I still think it mentally affects the team. And the reason why I say that is because that's the same thing going on with the Broncos. Like there's just some crud in Denver. It's the same thing, but it's also, I can say, the reverse or the flip side of it. The Lions got rid of that crud. They listened. They're following through. They're winning, and it all started last season. And Dan Campbell did not have a good start, but he polished everything, and they finally got winning ways. And I think there's a mentality there, and I don't think Brandon Staley can overcome that.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think they have the right kind of cult. He doesn't bring that type of culture with him, Brandon Staley. Not like the kind of positive, like uplifting, like very high-spirited, high-energy type like Dan Campbell or like Mike McDaniel brings to their team.
Yeah, we've way gotten off topic as far as the overall game going on, but the Chargers are just such an interesting topic to talk about because,
well, at this point in the team, everyone thought they would, because of Justin Herbert and Kellen Moore, that they would be they should be a playoff team, and well, they are not looking like a playoff team
right. I'm just going to end the segment with this because it is the name of the segment, and this is the definition. They are the most surprising and disappointing team right now, because they were a playoff team. They looked really good. They've lost a lot of close ones. I mean, I could say what I want about the Broncos, but between they're probably tied with the Vikings, just because they were both playoff teams in the Giants. But these they're sinkers.
Yeah, I don't know what's collapsed on all of them, except for the Giants. I think is O-line trouble, but still Daniel Jones doesn't look the same either. So yeah.
Like I said, we maybe that will be we'll do a whole whole ranking of the most surprising and most disappointing teams for the season, because there are a lot of them. All the ones we mentioned and more. But that being said, we can carry on to we can carry on to the rest of Week 6, and we'll talk about the Broncos and the Chiefs, because that was Thursday, and we had the Broncos had a defense. We had a defense that was good. Russ was last year. Russ.
Joe Lombardi was also last year as well, since I just didn't realize he was your offense coordinator now.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know if he was really the problem in LA, and I don't know if he's really the problem here.
I don't think he is. I think Russ. I think this game specifically, Russ was the problem. Other games, no.
Right.
This game, yeah.
But it's just like I said about the Lions. It's like, and the Chargers. Like, there's just a stink. There's that losing. You can't shake it right now, and we need that. I know everybody's making a big deal about like cleaning house and stuff, but maybe we do just need to clean some of the house. I mean, the Lions got rid of, like, we all thought it was a big deal, and it was, but Lions got rid of TJ Hawkinson last year. That was like a #1 draft pick. He went to the Vikings. He improved with the Vikings. They made the playoffs. But guess who's on the upswing right now? Who stayed on the upswing?
And
the Lions.
And they got a new tight end, and because of trading a tight end, they got a new tight end who's a really good tight end.
Laporta's looking great. Under definitely not going to happen, but definitely should be in the mentions for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Probably won't happen, but he should be talked about in that category.
Right. I think CJ Stroud's probably going to win that unless Achan comes back and keeps running like 200-yard games.
Yeah, pretty much. Anything else on the Broncos?
Well, their defense, if they can get their problem is like they need consistency on both sides of the field. If they can get this consistent defense that they did to hold Patrick Mahomes to only 19 points.
We'll get into that in a moment. That was a big topic.
But if they can have that consistency with the offense from the previous games that could score,
31,
at least 20 to 30 points.
Right, the offense that came back and helped win the Bears, right, in the second half.
Yeah, that type of offense with this type of defense, then you're the Sean Payton Broncos that we all thought you'd be.
Exactly. I think we're gonna cut Russ. I think we're gonna bite the bullet. We're gonna rework something. I don't know. I think that if honestly, I could also see him being benched too, and just keeping his salary cap so that we don't hurt our salary cap for 1 year. I don't really know the financials, but unless Russ wants to rework his schedule and we can trade him and salary, and that's what I meant. Rework his salary. We can figure out in the offseason. But honestly, right now at 1-5, the Packers are a legitimate shot we could win because of how they've been playing. But I think that we're just going to be a get right game for them, and I don't know if I really want them to win. I think we need a new quarterback. I think this is the first time in Broncos like franchise history. It's like I can't remember if Ryan Gracie was a first rounder. I know like Tebow was a first rounder. There are a few other first rounders, but I think this is like we're gonna get a legitimately high. We're gonna have one of those real top quarterbacks to actually build around a team around, instead of doing we're still that same 2015 Super Bowl Broncos. We're not.
Well,
because there's no one left on that team that has a ring anymore.
Well, the key thing is will you continue the way you were going, or will Sean Payton actually turn this around? Will you find that consistency that I mentioned? Because that is also a possibility.
Yeah, I should also note, a Broncos Super Bowl ring. We all knew that Russ has a Seahawks Super Bowl ring that he's probably not allowed to bring or anything he might not even be allowed to keep that in Denver. So we'll see. Hopefully they have another house somewhere in like Seattle or LA or where, like maybe he keeps it there or something. They got to have a second house or something. But I'm sure he's not allowed to bring that to the Broncos organization. He might be able to keep it in the home in Denver, but nobody on that team has a Broncos Super Bowl ring, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe somebody in the upper management and the but players and coaches I don't think have one from the Broncos. So that we're no longer that Super Bowl winning that team. We've lost everything from there. So I'm okay with a full rebuild, because let's just look at the Texans. If they can keep improving, the Chiefs, I mean, yeah, they looked good with Alex Smith, but there were a time where they just didn't look good before Andy Reid. Oh God, the 49ers. You remember those teams when after Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh, like there was just an influx, up and down, and there wasn't a lot of up. It was like Kelly and
no one remembers those Cowboys teams like after Troy Aikman, before Tony Romo.
Yeah, no one does. I mean, there was a few years, but there nobody talks about it. I mean, it was like Drew Bledsoe. I think
one was Quincy Carter or something like that.
But like anyways, Broncos rebuild. Broncos rebuild. Let's ride. I mean, Caleb Williams. Let's ride. You cannot own part of the team, but he wanted that. I don't know if you heard about that. He wants part ownership. I'm like, nope. That maybe Green Bay, because I think that would work. I think you can actually kind of have that. I don't know if you have to be, you have to live in Green Bay. It's a thing. But
yeah.
you have anything else? Because I wanted to go talk about the Chiefs in a moment.
I did. I mean, we all had. I mean, yeah, we all had dark times too. I've lived through too many of them. That's why I was like casually not mentioning Dolphins post Marino.
I definitely do not want a long-term post Peyton Manning like years for the Broncos. Not as long as the Dolphins did. I mean, definitely do not look. That would be. I would be somewhere in my 50s by that time. So I'm not looking forward if that happens.
Right. But yeah, so we can move on to the Chiefs now.
Okay, the Chiefs. Man, that defense looks great. They made. I mean, look at what they did to Russell Wilson. I saw on Good Morning Football like Jason McCourty was like Russ is going to throw 2 interceptions, and I'm like, nah, Russ has been doing so good. He only has 2 on the year. I'm like, nope, he was right. I don't even know. Like he knew. Jason, I know you're probably not listening, but if you happen to listen to this, I was totally shocked. Like I just could not believe it. Like I was not even paying attention. I was paying attention, but I was like, nah, I didn't believe you. I was like, nah, he ain't gonna get that. That one's not gonna be right. I was like, damn, I was flabbergasted.
Their defense is really good. They are a better defensive team than they are an offensive team, because why didn't they score 70?
I also want to say I felt bamboozled. I want to use these old-fashioned words that nobody said, but
we love bamboozled here.
Bamboozled, flabbergasted, anything else you can think of. These are fun words to say. That being said, another fun word is like you said. It's like they didn't score 70. Like let's just bundle that all. Like say it all together. It's like
bundle. State Farm ads with.
That's where I was going with that. It's like they're always on TV, but you can't get. But they got 19 points against the Broncos. Like that defense, you put 19 points. 19. Thank goodness they traded for McCole Hardman and got him back. But seriously, 19 points. The Bears put up more, and you slaughtered you put 41 up against the Bears,
which has been their highest scoring game this season against the Bears. They have not scored that high.
You had a bad. You didn't look great against the Jets. Like it's like I know we watch a certain show
that has a Mahomes mounted and a guy who talks about the Chiefs a lot,
right? And I'm like, don't get me wrong, Chiefs are still a great team. Hey, Patrick Mahomes though, he ain't on top of that mountain this year. I'm sorry, he ain't like not when you can't put a Tua like game against the Broncos. Wait, real quick. He had as many touchdowns, I think, against the Broncos as Mike White had against the Broncos. Not going to say Mike White is the, savior for the, or anything like he's great, but let's just be realistic here. There's something wrong, and I think they are real. Like
that was the point I was going to be met, because they're missing Eric Bieniemy.
They are missing Eric Bieniemy. I love it for Eric Bieniemy, first of all, because that just shows he's going to be a head coach next year for sure. And this is what everybody needed to see, that Eric was calling those plays, and you can see that they still have the fun, and something's not working there right now. I think Eric Bieniemy, even if he was strict, there was something fun about Andy Reid. I mean, Matt Nagy was there before, and he did good stuff with Alex Smith, and I think wasn't he the one that was he the offensive coordinator when Mahomes got the 50 touchdowns and the MVP?
I forget.
I'd have to go double check, but he was at least there for his first year or two, I think. So I don't know what to say about the Chiefs offense.
Well, either A, your defense really woke up and is going to play a lot better going forward, or the Chiefs' offense did not know what to do.
It's going to be a really interesting game because we got like Chiefs Chargers, and we talked about how the Chargers and so that like are the Chargers defense going to wake up? Are we going to have a shootout, or is it going to like I'm really thinking the Chiefs are going to win. Like I think it's I don't know if it's going to be as competitive as the last couple of years.
I mean the Chargers offense having issues versus the great Chiefs defense is going to come down to the Chiefs offense versus the Chargers defense. So, which if the Chargers defense gets like that 6 sacks in a game, Khalil Mack, maybe they do have a shot there, but the outlook does not look good for the Chargers, but I am rooting for them.
They're my rivals. I mean,
you don't really care. You hope they tie, honestly.
No, I guess I'd want to maybe see the Chargers so that they have less of a chance of getting a better draft pick. So that's the way I'm going.
That's it. You want the Chargers because you want Chargers to get away, to move further away from you.
Right. Because I don't want to play and beat them, and then they're like lower than us. I mean, I know they ain't going to get Caleb Williams or a draft. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they would. Anyway,
if they did, Justin Herbert could go to a better place. I mean,
what?
What, a Chargers quarterback going to another place and having a Hall of Fame career? What? Never happened.
He'll go to the Saints. Watch. No. Anyways, especially since the Dolphins don't need him in that whole thing. Anyways, with the Broncos, it's going to be interesting to see if the defense, like, I think it could be a get-right game for the Packers, but Broncos do have a shot if things go right with that offense, and honestly, I don't know too much about, like, I don't know Jerry Jeudy personally, I don't know Steve Smith personally, I know I saw the stuff on there. Steve Smith's right. Everybody, I know Mark's, I'm going to pronounce it, Schlereth. Oh, I did get that right. Called out like the receiving core, and Cortland at least plays. Like, he's a good, I don't know if he's our number one right now, but he's sometimes, but could you just imagine him with another number one? Like, or like you could have a 1A, 1B, situation there like other teams. Like, Cortland is good. I think Marvin Mims could get that step up, and they could be a good duo. But Jerry Jeudy, he's not doing good. He's not even I don't know if anybody's gonna trade for him at this time, unless somebody realistically goes down, like a number 2 guy goes down, unless maybe the Patriots want him for Mac Jones, because they played together, but that's about it. Anything else left on the Broncos and the Chiefs? I mean, I thought it was a good game.
It was a lot better than we were expecting.
Right, I was in it. I had some hope. It was a fun game. I wish Russell played better, but I was happy not to get the blowout. Like, I really expected a Dolphins-like game. Anything else?
I think we're good on them.
Okay, then we'll be moving on. Let's go with your favorite team, the Dolphins against the Panthers.
Yeah, it didn't start out how I was expecting, but it finished how I was expecting.
I'm gonna give you like all the time for the Dolphins, but I gotta say, I remember watching and seeing 7-0 Carolina, 14-0 Carolina. I'm like, I'm looking at you. I'm like, you're just like what? We're all like, what? Like, you were it was a little worse, and it felt like a little panicky, not too panicky, but it was just like, we're like, it's still waking up, right? We're still waking up. It really felt off watching that first quarter and just being like,
that beginning,
looking at you watching the game.
That beginning was that beginning was troublesome, and then like 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowhdowns, 4, 5 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns. There we go.
Yes, 6 touchdowns. They won by how many? I have to teach John just a little bit. I was in the room on a phone call, and they only won. It's like they won by 14, and I'm just like, I keep looking at the score, and like seeing the highlights.
I thought the Panthers scored more points than they did. Sorry about that. I didn't win on that ticket anyway. Because the Bills did. The Cardinals did.
The Cardinals. We'll get into that. That could have been on our are most surprising because they're the Cardinals. But
Anyways,
go ahead and
enough of shortcomings.
It was a game. It was a fun game, honestly. It was watching it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Tyreek is just showing that he's a fantastic player in the league, and just he works so well with Tua. And some sports broadcasters think that it's like Tua just throws 2 yards and runs it for and Tyreek does the rest. That is not true. Tua is like the lowest percentage of throwing balls less than 10 yards. Tua is legitimately throwing these balls like 20, 30, 40, 50 yards, and they're catching it and running the rest of the way.
Right? I mean, I think I forget what they consider a deep ball if it's more than 10 yards, but even if it's 20 yards, I don't know what a deep ball is, but he's still number one on completions and passes. I forget if it's completions or passes, but he's number one in whatever, right?
He's number one in a lot of passing categories to it. And he really is one of the best QBs in the league. It's so different watching him compared to a lot of other quarterbacks, just with how he's developed and how Mike McDaniel has been. Even just this offense is just so much fun to watch.
Right? Like, honestly, looking at it, I know I said what I said last week about like wishing Mike McDaniel could have been interviewed by the Broncos. I don't even think he would have taken it. I think his dream job was like saying, watching Tua, I think his dream job was like, I want to coach that guy because he was so messed up. Like, he got such, like, I'm sorry, Brian Flores was a bad head coach to Tua. Mm-hmm. He was bad. He did not see the player's potential. Chris Greer did. Mm-hmm. And I think that, and Mike McDaniel did too. And I do think the rest is history. I think that Tua's looking great. If he can keep him, it's not even keeping improving. He should keep improving, but as long as he can stay healthy and keep his body mobile and the best ability of falling and taking hits and getting out, like, I want to say, I guess health is the right word, but I feel like it's more than just general health. You know what I mean? Like there's more to it than just saying health.
Yeah, his jiu-jitsu training has been paying off. If you've there's clips other Dolphins fans share online, like, of how he's learned to tackle, how he's learned to fall. Like, he just like fell and just flipped back up in like in a few hits, and it's like he's in hits that he might have like hit his head, he's not falling the same way anymore, so he's protecting himself better, and he's just so much better. He's just even better than he was last season, and he was really good last season. Tyreek's great. Jalen Waddle's fantastic, and
he definitely played fantastic this week.
Raheem Mostert just ran through them. Like, we didn't have Devon Achane since he's on IR, and Raheem just like basically ran the ball down the field each time.
Two things to add. One, I'm glad that they've made a mention about his jiu-jitsu, because I just remember growing up and they joked about it, about like football players learning being ballerinas or whatever, like learning the ballet and stuff. But like, didn't that help with something like with like I don't know, something with the legs, like the training of the legs, like balance? Yes. Just learning how to do balance and just being better. I forget if it was like offensive players, or if I could also see like it helping on the defensive backs too. But my point being is, like, if you can take ballet to improve yourself, like jiu-jitsu is a legitimate, skill to be able to like learn from it and incorporate it into your athleticism, into your practice, to your understanding of how to play the game and how to be a better player in something that was harming you. And that's what learning these jiu-jitsu is. It feels like another life skill. That was a life skill Tua needed to learn so he could be better at his job. We do that for other things. And I know people like criticized or joked about it, but like, I think that like that shows so much growth, willpower, like so much that people, older generations, like joke about and laugh. I'm not saying anyone specific. I'm just saying, like, I know it was like there were people that had issue, like didn't take it seriously enough. And I even said, I'm like, oh, jiu-jitsu. I'm like, that's a good idea. I was thinking wrestling because like we've got friends who wrestle, and you take hits, you take falls, you learn how to stunt. It's like a kind of stunt coordinating. It's a bit of theater, honestly, wrestling. And we've talked about wrestling on this podcast before, but that's what it is. And I'm glad like that since he didn't do wrestling, jiu-jitsu, I had no idea about it, but it made sense when I looked a little bit more into it. And I had one more thing, but if you had anything else on the jiu-jitsu.
No. I mean, the jiu-jitsu is fine, and you really you have to do what you have to do to benefit yourself and not listen to haters or detractors because they don't understand things.
Only you know your body and you know your health. And as long as you're talking about it and saying, hey, I know how to improve, this is what I'm feeling and I need help, get that help. And other people can sometimes, maybe mind their own business or, if they're not a part of your support system, I'm sure Tua has got a wife, right? Like, and his family were probably very concerned about his health. And with the jiu-jitsu stuff, if we're all good with that, my next big question was, if I remember correctly, you said that one of the problems or one of the faults in Mike McDaniel, or problems, whatever you want to call it, shortcomings maybe last season, was the run game. And are they not running it more? Like, they're getting better yards, and are they looking like, I know anybody looks like they can run the ball right now in that offense.
Well, what it comes down to is that since we hired your offensive line coach from last season, who apparently they had problems with, who was apparently a freaking genius here, Butch Berry has made our offensive line one of the best in the league.
Hold on, I'm taking that in. I just feel like I was sucker punched and slapped across the head a few times because I mean, what?
Right, our offensive line is like one of the best in the league, and with an offensive line like this, and I've said this for many years, I don't know how to process having a good offensive line. That an offensive line makes everything work, and that he is running the ball more, and that we're running the ball efficiently because we have an efficient offensive line. And even it's Liam Eichenberg's it was his second time as center, and now that it's not his first rodeo at it, actually was pretty good at center, and helped, and we were able to run the ball more with him. Like, so that's the thing with the Dolphins, is that we always seem to be improving. That like what was problematic one week is not problematic this week, and that is what a key thing to these good teams are, the evolution of that.
So I'm really shocked about the offensive line coach. That just really talks volumes about maybe about that rust or something like that. That icky, we need some cleansing in Denver because we're still having offensive line trouble. It's definitely a lot. It's better than last year. So, but I know the talent's a bit different. So invest in your O-line is definitely an important thing. But I'm glad he's doing better. I mean, I know he wasn't the true problem in last season. So
you need like good O-linemen and good offensive line coach, and you just need things working out and
health.
Yes, and depth, offensive line depth, because Terran Armstead is like hurt, and like Kendall Lamb has been doing fantastically in place of him.
Right, but honestly, like, you're running the ball better, right? Like, that was my main thing. Like,
we are like, we have two of the top running backs in the league. What was it? Mostert still hasn't beaten in the Achane yet, even though he didn't play. So Achane, I think, is like 6 yards ahead of him right now.
Okay, so he'll get it this week.
Yeah.
All things hopeful and everything, but
so like they like Achane was only behind Christian McCaffrey. So
okay, wow.
Yeah, so that's just how well running backs have been doing. I mean, though Christopher Brooks, I did pick him up because he looked good in preseason. I was like, oh, he's going to take the second spot, like, because he did have like one good run and then got his knee injured, and I'm like, well, at least I got that small amount of points in fantasy. It sucks that he got hurt too, but I think he's just week to week. So and Jeff Wilson's going to hopefully come back out of IR. I think he looked good. I just think they wanted another player for the 53-man roster than another running back. So
yeah, he's off IR, or he's on that. He's like off IR, but he's got that window open. Yeah, the open window. So
Yeah, but he did. Mike McDaniel did say it looked like he could have played. They just wanted a different player than another running back on the roster.
No, that makes sense. And what else about the Dolphins?
One of the big things I wanted to mention, I think I mentioned about this earlier. We were talking about punters and stuff, and that there was one play, Johnny Hecker of the Panthers, punted the ball, and it was after, and his last name was Good. I forget on Miami's special teams. Johnny Hecker headbutts him lightly, and Good just flops down, and they called a penalty on the punter.
I shouldn't laugh because but it's like it's great that I mean it's great that they called the penalty. I'm laughing because they actually called the penalty that they should have. That was the right one. But I'm really laughing about the flop because
you could literally tell it was a flop. Like this was like with the whole Phantom of the Flopra from like Sports Center and stuff with Scott Van Pelt and stuff. Like this was one of the biggest flops I've seen. Like he just like headbutted him lightly and you're like and it's like we didn't need that, but that was hilarious. This is like, this has been this season has been soul cleansing for me.
I'm sure last season was good. This is a lot better than especially 2 years ago when you were with the Brian Flores saga.
I'm glad we're not having roller coasters right now.
Like that too.
The roller, like with the Brian Flores season, was like we lost 7 games and won 7 games, and then what was it? Win 3, lose. It was like win 3, lose 3, win 2, lose. Like it was kept going up and down, or like it was like, and then it was like win 3, lose 3, win 5, lose 5. Like
I remember, I think wasn't like you've always had classic Ravens games, right? Because wasn't there that Thursday night football game against the Ravens? I think we went to Village Pub for that or something. Wasn't there something?
What happened in the game?
I forgot. It was like a Ravens. Like it was just one of those up and down ones.
Yeah, well, the Ravens are always a weird team we play against, and we will see them later in the season because it's always fun and weird with that. But yeah, I think that. Oh, I wanted to talk about the defense because the defense has been looking better because the last 2 weeks we only held both teams to 2 scores. It was 2 field goals for the Giants and 2 touchdowns for the Panthers. The third ones were pick sixes, is that the defense has scored, and it was a pick 6 on Mike White this time.
Yeah.
So, but still, they only scored 2 touchdowns on offense. Like they looked good at the beginning, and they didn't score again afterwards on offense, showing how well the defense has evolved. Like you thought the defense was a bit of a problem earlier in the games, but now we're stopping them. We're 3rd in sacks. I don't believe I'm like this whole season. Like we're the third team in sacks, and Christian Wilkins is getting the rust, has gotten the rust off.
Oh no, he's looking really good. Like I know that when we were talking about that, that was something with his contract. Like he didn't have the sack numbers and stuff, and he's getting those sack numbers right now, which is what they want to see.
I think he's beating out. He's pretty close, or to matching the amount of sacks he had last season already. And like Bradley Chubb had a sack last week. It's like even he's looking better, and Zach Sealer's always been looking fantastic. Like he's becoming a name.
Mm-hmm. And of course Van Ginkel.
Oh, we love Van Ginkel. And Jalen Phillips was back too, and that helped. So like our defense is going to go from one of our weaknesses to one of our strengths as we continue forward too.
We'll see how they do on Sunday Night Football though.
Yes, it should be exciting against the Eagles.
Should be. I'm hoping the defense, I want to hear these names called on Sunday Night Football so that more people know about them,
The only thing our defense needs to get more turnovers because I think we're last in interceptions, but
that's shocking compared to where the Broncos are.
Yes. I mean, we're last in interceptions, but if they're just going 3 and out, you really don't need those interceptions.
You're right. I mean, the whole goal is to stop them no matter how
right?
No matter what way you get it, you stop them. That you want the ball on offense.
Yeah, turnovers, what was it? Turnovers help, but aren't required.
Yeah.
As long as the defense keeps playing great and the offense playing great. I would love more turnovers because I'd just love to see more scoring from the Dolphins and stuff, but if we just keep playing the way we do, I think we're going to keep going. We're going to go far this season.
I agree. And with that, I think we'll move on to...
I think that just about covers everything I wanted to say about the Dolphins. So I keep talking, but this is not the Dolphins show.
Right. And so we'll move on to the Ravens and the Titans because that was the last of the UK games.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens won 24 against the Titans 24-16. The Ravens got a lot of field goals. They don't look quite great on offense. offense, even though it's like I don't know what to really think about
I
them.
don't know if they've gelled with the new offensive plan just yet.
Still might take a little while, so it's not a huge deal.
I mean, they kept getting running. I mean, they lost J.K. Dobbins, they lost running backs. I think but they're getting more healthy again. So I think they're slowly developing. I think they'll start gelling a bit better.
Yeah. Defense plays well. I mean, I don't know if anybody's they're a good team right now. I won't say they're a great team. They're a pretty well team. Pretty good. I wouldn't say good. They feel pretty good right now. They're beating who they have to beat because but they're not looking extraordinary. They're not looking like what they could be.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans. I know Ryan Tannehill went down. Is it Tajay Spears? Yeah, he looked good. They were trying to get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins. Everything was looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
It just they came up short. It was the Titans definitely could have won this game if they just played a little bit more consistent. But that feels like their team right now. There's a lack of consistency. So these teams just feel I hate to say middle of the road, but I mean even with the Ravens are in not as great of a division right now. So
I mean the Ravens are still ahead in their division, but
it's a close division.
They need to play better. I think they just need to start gelling. The Titans, we'll see if how Malik Willis does or if Will Levis comes in. We'll see how they do with a different quarterback. I don't know how long Brian's supposed to be out, but
yeah.
But they need a little more consistency on offense.
They do, and we'll see if they get it. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna be in full rebuild mode, but I think if they just change a couple pieces, I think Mike Vrabel's still one of the best head coaches in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves more. They need to keep giving. They need to do more in free agency, I think. But these were just Justin Tucker made 6 field goals, so that's 18 points. So they scored a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, and then got the rest in field goals. So
yeah,
I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what.
Well, he missed an extra point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Justin Tucker missed an extra point and made 6 field goals. Okay.
I don't know how you missed the extra point, but
right. So wait. Did they get a safety? I'm trying to think how the math works on that. 6 plus. Okay, no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, 6 plus 18 is 24. Okay. Sorry, I'm tired. Math is not working right now.
Math is not our strong point at times, as we've talked about.
Right. So is there anything else you want to talk about with the Ravens and Titans? I know some of these teams we follow a little bit more. Some teams are a little more exciting. These teams are just so right now. And we'll see how they get later in the season. I mean, Zay Flowers looks good.
Yeah,
and Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I don't know. The Ravens are just these two teams are what they're about, and they just do what they do, and it's just the Ravens are just being effective with it, and the Titans aren't being effective with it.
Honestly, that's a great analysis. Honestly, they're exactly what we know they are, and they're playing their kind of ball, and that's all they're.
It should be exciting to see what the Ravens can do against the Lions.
Yes, that should be a fun game. All right, so with that, we'll move on to the Saints and Texans. Just gotta say, I'm loving CJ Stroud. He's right now at this rate, very easy competition to be the best Ohio State quarterback. Not much competition there,
right?
But the team just looks great. They're coming. I feel like they're getting through the adversity, shaking off last season. They're got a lot of new players. The coaching's really coming together. Just everything. The wide receiving core looks good too. It's pretty solid, even though it's been hurt.
Everything but the run game. I mean, Damian Pierce seems to have regressed from last year. But I know they still have O-line members hurt, so they're still winning and still doing a good job even with these O-line problems is good for on their depth.
Right, they're in the thick of it for that division. I'd even say right now that they've got a shot at a wild card, even with the way that the whole conference looks like. As far as the team, if the O-line, Larry McTunsil's not there yet, right? right?
I'm not entirely sure. I think he's still out.
I'll have to double check that. What about and the defense is looking good too. Like nothing super spectacular, but like D'Amico Ryan's knows defense, and
Yeah.
he's looking good. Like this team just looks like this team's playing like a team. It's looking like a team. It's looking good. It's coming together. I think they're a year out even from a wild card spot, but just because of how poorly some of the other teams are, I could easily see that 7th seed just to get there.
That 7th seed is anyone's right now.
Right? Because like without getting too into it, I think there's only going to be one from. I think there's going to be a wild card from the North again, and
the East is definitely
and a wild card from the East. And I think the second one's either going to be another one from the North or from or realistically the Texans. I don't see not this AFC. Well, the Raiders are in it right now, but I don't see that being a long term thing. That
with all the North teams fighting it out and are pretty close to each other, I have to assume it's going to be 2 North teams.
Right, but I'm not going to count out the Texans. So
no, the Texans have a good dot here,
unless Buffalo absolutely falls apart.
I mean, they keep getting hurt.
Right. I mean, I was gonna say I guess the other choices, the Jets as well. But
they're not out of it.
No. But like it's definitely going to be a wild. As long as the teams are playing right now, it's going to be a wild finish to see who makes that last wild card playoff spot. I mean, divisions are up in the air right now too. So
right,
except for the West.
Yeah, unless Kansas City has a major collapse. Yeah.
Right. Like major, it has to be like almost catastrophic. Like I mean, the Raiders would basically be the ones that make it in because I don't see the other teams doing anything here soon. So
right, like I think even if Mahomes went down, Kansas City still has a shot at this.
They do. They absolutely do. But that's a whole other subject. The Saints defense still looks good, even if they haven't won. The offense of the Saints, they got a lot of talent. I mean, it's like that. I know, like I like Derek Carr, but I definitely understand why people were like, he's just it's average, mediocre. It's like he's kind of showing right now. Like he needs to get over that hump.
I mean, they have to win, but I mean that you only get 13 points off 353 yards is something.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So it's I don't know. It's definitely not all Derek. I will say that. I like Derek. I know it's not all him, but
I mean they have. I mean Olave and Shaheed are turning into a great pair of receivers here,
and they got Michael Thomas. So like there's
and Taysom Hill.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I think they just need some kind of spark. So maybe they'll get that on Thursday night. We'll see. But they're in the thick of the NFC South. I still think it's right now the Buccaneers' division to lose.
This division's so wild right now, but the Bucs I think are playing the best, depending on how the run game goes with the Falcons and their high-powered running attack.
Well, is there anything else? Because we could move on to the Falcons game. Because yay Texans. That's all I gotta say. Like I'm happy to see them doing well. I'm happy for CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryan.
Right. So, there's excitement and hope for the Texans, something we did not think they were having.
Right. I absolutely love being not all the time, but I love being proven wrong about CJ Stroud. I was worried about another Ohio State quarterback, so that's one of those ones where I love to see that I really could be wrong. So like I want to see. I really have wanted to see one of them succeed. That being said, the Falcons, Commanders, like we're gonna get into it anyways. Might as well talk about the Falcons. They got 16. They had all the chance to win that game, but Desmond Ridder also threw 3 interceptions this week. I feel like that there were a lot of quarterbacks who did that. I feel like a quarterback each week does that right now. 2 this week, unless I'm blanking on another. But
it might be time if it continues. I don't know if it continues. It might be time to get Heineke in there.
It might be. I forget how many. Well, first I was thinking, how many did Geno Smith throw? But I think he threw 2. Anyway, I'm thinking often thought Heineke might come in after the bye because they haven't had the bye yet, right?
No.
So I think Desmond Ritter gives them some fresh, some legs to really run it, and he just needs to get a little smarter with the ball. I think he can. I want to say game manager, but if he can just manage it well and get it to the right people, he doesn't have to do everything. There's a lot of talent around him. So.
Well, I mean, it's the decision making. It's either it's a combination of decision making and the defense making good plays. As I stated, like not on this podcast, or maybe I have, but that interceptions are not always a quarterback's fault because of tip drills and just defensive backs making good plays, or any defensive play.
Right. I forget when you mentioned that. It might have been when we lost
our
mics.
I don't know if it was on. I don't know if it was on the podcast or just talking in general.
Right.
It's something I genuinely just think about. So. Because like tip drills happen, and it's like, oh, the defensive tipped it. Yes, because that was on the quarterback that the ball was going to get tipped into the other. Yes.
I do think you mentioned that when we were trying to make up this podcast, and
I don't know.
And we did not realize our mics died. So that was a fun time there for we've had, we all have our bad days.
We have technical difficulties just like everyone else.
Yes. Reminds me of ESPN tonight, but that was another story. for our non-NFL podcast. Anyways, no, like it's crazy because like you're I was gonna say I agree with you, but like this is the Commanders defense. There's times where it looks amazing, and like with the Broncos against the Broncos, but then it's like shootout in Philly and does nothing against the Bears.
The Commanders, I have to believe that there were injuries during some of those games.
I think they had injuries this week too.
I'm just saying, I think injuries affect the consistency of the Commanders, because there's that or the coaching is just really weird, because there is the definite lack of consistency here with the Commanders, and it reminds me of how the Dolphins used to be.
I mean, okay, like I look at their like they talked about like what Montez Sweat, Chase Young, Jonathan Allen. There was one other player I'm blanking on that front, like 7. But
I know a few of those guys have been playing with injuries or been injured.
Yeah, so like there should be. It's like with the injuries, yeah, you can't expect consistency, but that's a lot of big names and a lot of high draft picks spent on the defense. So I'm hoping that we can see more of this, to get them down to have a team only score 16 and get the victory too.
Right, the Commanders. I don't know what to expect from the Commanders going forward, but I feel the same for the Falcons. But I will believe in both of them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They also both could be playing for a wild card spot, so we'll see what happens. This could definitely make the difference between if the Commanders make it or the Falcons make it.
Right. Both teams are they're 3-3 right now, and it just depends on wins and losses.
Yeah,
and consistency, playing consistently. And
I was gonna say, like, it always depends on the wins, but yeah, the consistency is what really matters, because the consistency will get us the wins.
I mean, wins and losses. I mean, the wins and losses, all it does really depend on the wins and losses. It is just a generalized statement, but going deeper, there are more to it. There's more elements to it.
Anything else with these teams?
Seems like they might have some O-line trouble or something. Like, I feel like these rush-having teams, like don't have a lot of rush yards when I look at the stats. Like, the Commanders have pretty good running backs, and like think they'd have more, but I know the Falcons have a strong defense.
Yeah.
Falcons...
They've got an underrated defense. I think there's a lot of talent there, but it's like I know, like Calais Campbell. I know there's a lot of defense, but it's like I kind of see what the Falcons defense can do, and almost kind of what I think that's kind of what I expect out of the Washington defense. So it's like but I mean, on a more consistent basis, obviously.
And the Falcons had a good passing attack, so like Drake London had over 100 yards, so that's surprising to see. Just less turnovers, Desmond Ritter.
Right.
All right. I think that's all I have on them.
All right, so before we get, I'm gonna save the more exciting games. Well, the best game for last time. I'll definitely save that. This was kind of just a stinker game. The Vikings won 19-13.
Justin Fields got hurt. I mean, his backup looked like he was playing nicely, except for I think losing the ball and getting in the Vikings scoring when he lost the ball. So, but besides the turnovers, we didn't look bad. bad. So we'll see going forward how they are without Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But good on the Vikings winning without Justin Jefferson.
Right? I mean, at least they can get it to Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
And like, there's plenty of teams to get it done and done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like they're getting it done though. So we'll see. We'll see how the Vikings continue from here. But I'm just I don't know. Doesn't feel like their heart's in it anymore. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll see what the Vikings, because the only two teams they've beaten are the Carolina Panthers, who don't have a win, and the Bears. And the Bears had an injured quarterback.
Right. It wasn't really that great of a game, so that's why.
Right. Like, you might have lost that game if they didn't if you didn't get that, I think, defensive score or turnover, whatever.
Right. Anything really else to talk about there?
I'm good.
I was gonna say other injured quarterbacks a bit. The Jaguars Colts game.
Mm-hmm.
I know Trevor Lawrence is a little iffy for Thursday night. I'm sure he would play on Sunday, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I hope he plays, because I'd like to see Derek Carr versus Trevor Lawrence. That has a good matchup on paper right there. So I want to see the teams as best as possible.
All right.
What else? Travis Etienne looks like a stud. Like, he's just he solid running back. Like, I hope they make sure to sign him for a good deal and that he just keeps performing, because him and Trevor, good combo right there, honestly.
Right. I mean, they were good in college, so.
Other than that, Minshew Mania is going to be taking over for the rest of the season, because Anthony Richardson's going to get surgery on his shoulder. I really hope that the Colts treat him better than Andrew Luck, that he feels part of the team still, that he can be there, learn. Like, there's a lot, like, injuries suck, especially when you were looking good and like you were seeing where you could go with as a quarterback. But it is what it is. And as far as the Colts go, I just wanted to say Josh Allen looked good. He's coming back into form. Like, I was worried about that. I said that. I was like now it looks like he's getting his sacks. He's coming back into form. So
I just want to say that Anthony Richardson, like, I don't know if Tua's reached out to him, or he should reach out to Tua, like, because he might need the jiu-jitsu training himself to protect himself.
I
don't think it would have helped against the shoulder injury, but I mean, some of those hits he took earlier in the year, because he's doing some of the same mistakes Tua made when he was a rookie as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's the running. Like, he did do some of the running, like how he ran. Like, I know the ankle injury was like the first one, but like this last one, it was just like they need to work on a better game plan. He doesn't always need to run the ball. They need to honestly, I feel like his game could be closer to Josh Allen than Tua.
I'm not saying about his game being like Tua. I'm saying
I get what you're saying. I'm saying that with how his game is, he's a little bigger. The way that he runs, Josh Allen might be able to help him with some of that. At least the way I've seen him, I don't see that he's it's like Tua. I felt like some of the concussions and stuff that happened were more in the pocket. A lot of Anthony Richardson's is happening on runs and different things.
But that's the problem, is that Anthony Richardson had the same problem as Tua as a rookie, that he didn't know he wouldn't slide.
Oh, that's
a bit of the that's the similarity to Tua, is that he didn't know how to slide. And also Josh Allen's built like a truck, so
true.
That's something you can't really teach.
I mean, even though Josh Allen's injured right now, but either way, he's not out. He's just dealing with the pain. I will say, like, the biggest thing is none of these quarterbacks know how to slide. I didn't say it in the It's like, I know Patrick Mahomes got a little upset with the Denver defense, but he wasn't sliding when he took it. Like, he was he literally was. It was like at the same time. It wasn't a bad hit. Like, Patrick, you got to learn how to slide here. Like, you're open, and like, it's like you can't expect them not to hit you if you're starting to slide when they're tackling you. It's an after thing. And I forget if Justin Herbert also had some of that issue too. But like, sliding is a whole thing. Like, quarterbacks need to get a little bit smarter about.
I mean, they told Tua that, and Tua's learned.
Tua's looked better about that this year. I'm talking about I'm talking about maybe some of the other veterans that should know a little bit.
Well, they probably haven't had troubles like Tua did getting hurt 2 years ago and stuff.
Well, I'm realistically speaking about when you're doing it and making yourself, it's like there is an opportunity, like you got to do it earlier if you don't want to take those hits
easily.
Oh, and also you have to slide. Sometimes the quarterback is like gonna go head first or something. That's not a slide. You can still be hit there.
Right? You have to. It's all about protecting yourself because availability is the best ability.
Yes, it is. Sorry, just checking the list because I'm pretty sure we're good on Jaguars and Colts. Evan Ingram still looks like solid tight end option for and Christian Kirk. I know they got Calvin Ridley, but Christian Kirk playing really good. I know that they thought his skill set limited or he was supposed to just be like the slot guy, but Christian Kirk looking like he's earned his money when they pass it to him.
The one thing I will say is I think it was a mistake that the Bills traded away Zach Moss.
I do too, but I think that just shows how bad they don't know how to run it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Latavius Murray still looks good, and I mean, but he's got a power, he's a power back. He feels like he's more he builds up that power. He's not going to get stopped. Otherwise, it's you think Zach Moss, he's got some speed and stuff. I need to go trade back for him.
I know Zach Moss. Didn't do really well this week, but because they didn't have that much yards rushing, but he's still he made a touchdown. So and he's good in pass catching. So they really, really don't know how to use they really have running back issues in Buffalo.
Yes. All right. So now we're finishing up with I'm saving the best for last. Rams and the Cardinals. So this one I was thinking about putting it on our most surprising and/or disappointing list, only because the biggest surprise was the Cardinals finally look like what we expected the Cardinals to look like. They didn't come out to play they've been playing all season long. This one was just okay. I mean, Josh Dobbs was playing good, he was trying, but I mean, James Conner definitely makes a difference. He's a great running back.
Yeah, they didn't have I don't know if they knew who to use because I picked up Amari the Demercado, I think his last name was, and I dropped him I didn't play him. He was on my bench, but I dropped him in the middle of the weekend because I needed another player. I mean, I might as well just pick something else up just because they didn't use him, and I just don't know if they have a good replacement for James Conner right now. But on the bright side, at least Buda Baker is coming back out.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, I forget if it's the pupless or the
I think it was
injured.
I think it was
IR.
I think it was IR.
I forget. I know him and Kyler Murray are both coming off, and one was on one list and one
was. Okay, then Buda was on IR because I knew because I think his injury happened this year or something like that. I know Kyler needed to be on the pup list because it was the last season injury, so he was just physically unable to perform for this season. So
I mean, if Kyler is anywhere near how he was, and they still have this kind of spunk spirit to them, they might be able to bounce back. I mean,
if they need it, Kyler is basically trying to prove himself that he's not going to get replaced and traded away. Not to Denver. The Vikings might need a quarterback.
I don't know if you want to replace. I mean, I think Kyler can be successful, but you need a coach that will really do well with him. And Kyler in Minnesota could actually be
Minnesota or New Orleans. I can see the Saints too, but we'll see how the whole Derek Carr thing goes.
Derek Carr is. They just need to get more wins, but I don't know if I think Derek Carr isn't the issue.
That's true, but we'll have to get into that on another.
Back to Arizona.
We'll get into it. We'll have to do a mid-season what the heck could happen podcast at some point.
What if the podcast?
Right? But yeah, the Rams. I hope Puka gets the ball more. I feel like that didn't happen enough, but they won, and that's what matters. So Cooper Kupp, everybody looked good on the offense. The defense looked like it was like it used to be.
But the Rams did suffer injuries to running back.
Oh yes, they did.
Yeah, both I think Kyron Williams and Ronnie Rivers.
Right,
went down.
they signed
Miles Gaskin. I thought.
Oh, they signed Miles Gaskin. No, I was gonna say I thought
And
Daryl
Anderson. I think,
yeah,
they
their
signed both
old
of
running
them.
back.
Yeah, they signed both of them.
Yeah, I didn't realize about Miles Gaskin. I just know like they signed to the practice squad their old running back Daryl Henderson,
and they also have Royce Freeman.
Yeah, I think he got elevated, or he'll be
Yeah.
the number 2 guy or number 1.
They have a rookie they got this season, Zach Evans. He was a 6th rounder.
So Evans and Freeman will probably be the backfield this week.
I'm taking a shot on Evans, and I know other people are because he was like most added running back in fantasy. So
I should have picked him up. I took the 49ers guy, but I hear Christian McCaffrey might be okay. So
so who knows,
right? But no, the Rams. Other than the injuries, they look good. Are they 3-3?
Yep, Rams are 3-3.
So that's a lot better than I was expecting from them right now.
Yeah, they're playing back to not exactly Super Bowl caliber Rams, but they are playing way better than they did last year. But Matthew Stafford makes a big difference.
Yep. Anything else, or shall we move on?
I'm good to go, I think.
Okay. Not our total. We still have one more until till the last game, but one of the most exciting, awesome, fun, yay games. I can't even. Our rivals, the Patriots and the Raiders.
On the bright side, on my bright side, the Patriots lost.
True. So Max Crosby, is definitely the highlight on the defense. Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess he's okay, but I know his back was hurting. I'm definitely not from carrying the team. But yeah, this game was just kind of It was there. I didn't really pay too much attention to it because
Right. I mean, we saw stuff on Red Zone, but like the big thing I saw was like Michael Mayer, the tight end or something for the Raiders, is looking good. So
was he the tall guy that was making a lot of the catches and stuff?
Yeah, I think 87.
Yes, he was looking good. I remember seeing that when we saw the flashes going through the games. I guess the only other thing I could think of interest was the fact that was it Malik Cunningham was taking some snaps here and there.
Yeah, he's being used as a gadget player right now, like combination of like quarterback, wide receiver type deal. So.
Well, they gotta try stuff. I mean, at least they scored more than 3 points in last over the last 2 weeks. They scored 17, so much better than the last 2 weeks. But honestly, just not our favorite teams. Just they are what they are.
They are. The Raiders are playing a string of easy teams right now, and
we'll see how if they continue to pick up the wins. We'll see what happens there.
And the Patriots have questions at quarterback, but I think just Max lacking the talent around him, and Ramondre got hurt. So
yeah.
And I mean, they lost 2 of their best defensive players as well. So like, there's a lot of issues in New England right now.
There are. Anything else? Because I don't really have a lot to
say. I said my piece right now.
I was gonna say, as you can tell, there are just some teams we just don't really care to talk about. We try and we always want to give a little bit of our 2 cents. Sometimes that 2 cents is literally 2 cents, and then sometimes you'll get like $1 or 2 out of us when we talk about like Broncos, Chiefs, Dolphins, Bills. Almost a lot of other teams, like not just our favorites. There are teams that we do enjoy to talk about.
Right, we enjoy talking about like our favorite teams, and then our like teams that we enjoy, or players that are on our fantasy, or teams that are connected to our fantasy lineups.
Right. Well, and not really connected to our fantasy lineup, but I love talking about this quarterback, Joe Burrow, that's our last game is the Bengals beating the Seahawks. And
you said his name wrong. It's a Swag Daddy Joe.
Well, I believe he's getting his swagger back right now, so
he will always be Swag Daddy Joe, even if they're not winning, but they are winning right now. So.
Right. I don't even care if they win or lose. It was more about how he played. He was not looking, Swag Daddy-ish. He was looking like Sad Daddy-ish. No, not even ish. It was Sad Daddy. What's with the ish? There is no ish. Anyways,
he had the ish.
He did have the issue. Anyway, no, the Bengals defense played like they held the Seahawks down to 13. Both defenses played. Joe Burrow didn't have the greatest game, but he won. He played better than he had in most of the other games, except for like the week before. They are 3-3 now. They're right back into this thing with the division because other teams have sucked.
I don't know what the AFC North is. I mean, they all seem like competitive teams, but they all seem weird.
We've mentioned it when we've talked about each of the teams. Really, just what it is right now. We'll see in a few weeks. But the big thing in my mind is the defense. The defenses both played really well, and man, they picked off Geno, I think, like twice.
They did. It was twice.
Yeah, Geno didn't look great, so it was kind of, that was just a good defense, honestly. So I can't give the defense enough credit, honestly. Like,
right?
They played great.
It's weird with the Seahawks. Like they can beat the Lions, but lose to some other teams. So
right. Well, that's why they were roller coaster. They're like that one kind of bubble team, I guess. Not as bad as the Chargers or anything.
Right.
Like that,
I do want to give a shout out to one of the players we heard who had one.
I did. You could totally go for it. I was gonna mention it too. I'll say my piece after. It's really funny.
Yes, I think it was like another tight end or something. His name is Jake Bobo.
I thought he was a wide receiver.
Oh, is he a wide receiver? I don't know.
Because I thought they mentioned him as a wide receiver, or as a rookie wide receiver as well. And I'm just like, are they gonna like randomly hit on this like mid? Is he gonna be like Puka? Is he gonna be like this middle guy?
Oh, you're right. You're right. He is a wide receiver, not a tight end.
Is he going to be like this mid-round wide receiver? Because I think he went in. I think he was drafted. I don't think it was a free.
No, he was undrafted.
Oh my gosh! So can you imagine if the undrafted guy does better than Jackson Smith in Jigba? Because like I have not like everybody talks about like Quentin Johnston not making a name. I've barely heard them talking about Jackson's.
They
Jackson
both
Smith and Jigba.
They both made about the same amount of yards.
Okay.
In this game, but yeah, Jake Bo. Like, can you just imagine? Yeah, like I mean, sometimes you do better with the later pick than you do the earlier pick. I mean, Devon Achane seems better than some of the other earlier round running backs.
Right, but just want to say about Bobo. So you're telling me who made more yards? How much yardage was it?
Jackson Smith and Jigma made 48 yards, and Bobo made 43 yards.
So a 5-yard difference. And didn't Bobo make a touchdown? I think.
No.
Oh, okay. But still, that's a 5-yard difference for a number one pick versus an undrafted guy. I mean, they have a lot of talent on that offense, so we'll see how it goes. But man, that would definitely be one of the stories of the year if Bobo just like breaks out.
Right. Bobo did only made 43 yards and 2 receptions. Jackson Smith and Jigma did it on 4 receptions, which was the same as DK Metcalf.
Dang.
They have a pretty big like they spread the ball around here because Tyler Lockett had 6 receptions, Metcalf had 4, and Jigma had 4, Bobo had 2. A ton of people had receptions.
I'd just love to see if Bobo could break out. That would be fantastic because we need
Bobo.
Right, we need that. We need to all be chanting Bobo. Now I just can't help think of Mr. Burns.
Right.
But I'm just glad that Cincinnati is finding its groove. We'll see if Seattle can get its groove back and get rolling again here soon. I don't know who they play next week, but they're both teams right now. Like, as much as I want to say I think the Bengals can win the division, they're a wild card team right now. And same thing with the Seahawks. They definitely look like the wild card team. So see,
the Seahawks have the potential to win or lose anyone.
Yes,
they
do
this year because they can beat the Lions, but
right, like the best team in the NFC, or maybe like one of the best teams in the NFC and the NFL. Oh, yeah. But they can't. They couldn't. It's like. But the Bengals are one of the good teams. That's the thing. It's like when the Bengals figured themselves out, they can come back from 1-2, like 2-0-2 record, be 1-2, and then go 3-3. So now they're 2-1 in the last few games, or they're 3-1 in the last 4 games. So like
So here is the real test for can Seattle win or lose against any team, because it is their rivals of the Cardinals.
Right? They're playing in Arizona.
Yeah, it's actually at Seattle.
Oh, my bad. Arizona's playing in... I'm sorry, we've been doing this for a while, but yeah.
Yeah, so we will see if Seattle can. Will the scrappy Cardinals get another win, or will the Seahawks actually, play, deliver the spanking they should?
It's gonna be a good game, I think, as long as we get that Cardinals team from like the rest of the season. But I'm excited. I'm honestly I'm excited for that game.
Right.
But we'll let you know how it goes. There's a lot of good matchups next week. Falcons, Bucks. Maybe the Commanders, Giants, Lions, Ravens should be a good one.
I mean, Commanders Giants was always good last season. I mean, they tied. They go into a tie and stuff. So we will see what chaos reigns there.
I do think the games. I think the games. Honestly, Chargers, Chiefs. Should be good, we hope. And Packers Broncos should at least show us what, maybe we'll see something out of both teams. What are they for the rest of the year? I think this is one of those, we'll see what you really are kind of game for both teams. And
I'm really here just because of Brandon Perna and Tom Grossi's teams against each other.
Of course.
That hopefully it will be that. Hopefully that game will be That's Good Sports.
Right? Perna. That's all. Sorry, Grossi. I love you both, but gotta go with my Broncos. You got this, we got this, Brandon. One Broncos fan to the other. And then obviously I think there's potential in the Monday Night Football game with the 49ers and Vikings, and obviously the Sunday Night Football game. It looks like the best of the weekend. So
yeah, how can you go wrong with Tua versus Jalen, with the Dolphins versus the Eagles? And it's like I'm worried because what are the Eagles, but I know what we are, and as long as we're healthy, I think we have a good shot at them. I really want us to win, because we've only really beat teams that don't have winning records right now. Yeah, it should be exciting just to watch the teams in the old Alabama QBs go at it against each other with these strong defenses. Hopefully strong defense, stronger than the last few weeks defense. But that was it. I was really hope to see Miami win, to win again, to play well and win against one of the better teams in the league.
One of the better teams, one of the Super Bowl runner-ups, and also a 5-1 team. So not like another Buffalo showing.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, you have beaten some really bad teams, like we said, the Panthers, and they did. I'm sure Bryce Young's coming along, but it just and Adam Thielen's been great.
Yeah,
but there just hasn't been I know Frank Reich is giving up the play calling duty after this last game, so
Miles Sanders was not doing as well. I guess that's why they let him go in Philadelphia.
I guess, but either way, I'm excited for Monday Night Football because I want to see Brock Purdy get right, or at least show that it was just a bad game. We all have bad games, and I'm sure that's really what it would be.
I do hope Christian McCaffrey plays it because it feels like, man, it's Monday Night Football, but they're big star players of Christian McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson both being out.
Right. I mean, Debo, we got some other players on the 49ers, so
hopefully Debo's okay too.
Right. At least Jordan Addison can make a name for himself.
Hopefully
some other
KJ
players.
Osborne too.
Right. We'll see. But that if there's nothing else, I guess for me it's the 49ers are kind of I'm gonna bandwagon on them right now.
I mean, they're what the Broncos
could have been, yes.
Should have been, yeah.
But
that's a podcast for another day.
That is. But if there's nothing else, I think we've really extended the talk about this week 6 in football in the NFL. Thank you for listening and joining us. Please share, subscribe. We'll get another podcast with some non-football news and stuff coming up soon. Got some good stuff to share with you if you haven't already heard. And like I said, please share, subscribe, check us out, give us some feedback, and we'll see you here next time. Thank you for joining us. Bye.